What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise post-game show. Here on a Monday evening, the Blazers looked like they were going to win this basketball game, Eric, but then they remembered that they were in tank mode. Okay, they remembered just in time that they were in tank mode. They lose to the Atlanta Hawks 122 to 113. This was a interesting game, to say the least. The Hawks looked horrible, all out of sorts in the first half. The Blazers are hitting on all cylinders in that first half. Josh Hart, another 20-plus point first half. He's been phenomenal the past couple of games. And then Trae Young happened. The Hawks got together enough to take care of business against a team that they should beat. We had Chris Dunn's Blazer debut today. I don't know if that means anything. Drew Eubanks back on another 10-day contract. And, we're just plugging away for the rest of this Blazers season. Watching the tank standings, we'll look at that. This is going to be a little shorter stream. No graphics from Chris or anything. We're just going to chill. Talk about this game a little bit, probably talk about some March Madness, some draft stuff. Speaking of March Madness, if you want to join our free bracket pool, link should be in the description. If it's not there, refresh your page, okay? And that link should be there. And then let me know if you want to join our $20 bracket pool. We're also, Eric, 2 subs away from 6K.
I think we just got there. Thank you, everyone.
Did we just get there? It still says... Nope, we're still 2 away. So it rounds up on like the main page when it says 6,000 subs. It's rounding up from this. This is live. This sub counter is 100% live. Okay, so and we just lost one. Thanks to whoever was messing around and made it so that we're 3 subs away. I figured somebody
knew that was going to happen.
Yes, but please, we really want 6K subs. That would be phenomenal. That would be cool. I've been waiting for it for a while. We were kind of stuck in quicksand, though, but that bracket video I dropped yesterday has been popping off. Shout out to you if you found us through that. I'm going to drop more March Madness content in a video later today. But, yeah, now we're 3 subs away, unfortunately. Well, back to 2.
So one of either Peace and Love or Portlandia was watching this and unsubscribed, and now...
Or it's Zach. Yeah, there we go. There it goes. There it goes down. All right. Well, we'll see if we reach it at some point today. I knew that putting this on the screen might be a little bit of a mistake.
Also, if you do sign up for the bracket pool, it'd be fun if you not only put your first name or whatever, but also put your YouTube name so that we can kind of match the bracket to whoever comments in chat. So it'd be really fun to be like, look, there's P-Town, or whatever. P-Town made, there's his bracket and whatnot. So let's do that. If you sign up, try to put your YouTube name as well.
You know what's funny that I just realized? It says when people subscribe. Or some people, it says when they subscribe. So, we might be able to see who's unsubscribing then resubscribing. I don't know. But, shout out to the 5 of you who, Tori, get the sub counter off the screen. I might have to, unfortunately, because you guys have to troll us for some freaking reason. Should we take it? I guess we'll take it off, all right? We'll take it off since you guys want to troll us. Oh, look, Eric. Thanks for subscribing, Aeromancer. So Aeromancer was one of the people trying to troll us.
Man.
Of course it was. Anyway.
Disappointed father feelings towards Aeromancer.
Yeah, very disappointed fatherly feelings, yes. But no, we got a basketball game to talk about. Wait. Okay, now Eric. Now we just gained 10 in 20 seconds. So now we're officially at 6,000. Thank you to whoever made some burners and helped us reach 6K. We appreciate you helping us reach this milestone. Oh, look, Madden Mobile is a new subscriber, apparently. He finally just subscribed. All right, he's been in the chat for a while and finally just subscribed. We'll just say that's what happened. Anyway, thanks for helping us reach 6K. It's a cool milestone to hit. Cool to see a 6K next to it. Now I'm just gonna take this off the screen. Let's talk about the game. All right. No, I'm not going to give you guys like a speech and some more emotional, like breaking down, crying about 6K, but we really do appreciate it. But no speech from me. We got to talk about a basketball game that the Blazers lost, Eric. This is the reoccurring theme. It wasn't the reoccurring theme last game, so we talked a lot about last game. I mean, and we're not going to talk about this game as much as we did a couple days ago with that Wizards win. But takeaways. What? Josh Hart, good. Trenton Watford, very good. Or
Watford's
very solid.
Amazing.
Yeah, Josh Hart, really good. Trenton Watford, good. And then Keon Johnson had a couple of moments. And, yeah, what are your takeaways?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was trying to find it. Bootstrap had what I was going to say in the comments somewhere, but I can't find it now. But anyways, he said this type of loss is the best result. So I completely agree with that. So we had the best of both worlds. We build a big lead. We're playing a fairly decent, or what should have been a decent team. They played their hearts out. They left it all on the floor. But Trae Young just too good. And it's a good game. But I mean, couple things you could say. Oh man, if Eubanks just gets that shot off a second earlier, and if he doesn't goaltend that one, that was going to be an obvious miss. Like those kind of things, like they can hold their head up high, thinking that they probably could have won this game, and then also, but we still lost, so it still helps our overall record and our long-term success. So perfect game, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Right now, we do have a couple of tank relevant games going on across the league. We got the Spurs playing right now. They're currently down 4. They're just down 7, just hit a 3. They're down 4 with 4 minutes left in the third quarter, 101-97. So high-scoring game there in San Antonio against the Minnesota Timberwolves. We'll see if the Spurs can take care of business. That would move Portland back into 7th.
That was 75-73 at halftime, I think.
Yeah, just a wild game there. Timberwolves had 40 in the first quarter, and then the Spurs had 41 in the second quarter. Another relevant game, Eric. The Kings are out to an early lead against the Chicago Bulls, 15-7, with 5 minutes left in the first quarter, so we can gain a game back on them.
This is what I was saying the other night. It's like, it's okay to win if some of these other teams get their act together too. So hopefully
the problem is, Eric, the Kings aren't going to win. We know that the Kings aren't going to win this game.
No, I know. It's just like, but like if they did, and then like we could feel good about tonight. And
they hit a 3.
Like that would be fine. But
they're now up 18-7, so maybe they will. I doubled down on the Bulls just to jinx the Kings into winning. You're welcome. I took the sacrifice and picks against the spread earlier today.
I think the other thing I want to mention about this game, and I mean, you can include last game in it as well, but I think the overlying theme for me is they could absolutely be fine and possibly contend with going young and building around, a Dame, Nurk, Josh Hart veteran core, but have like most of the rest of the team be young guys. And I think they can do that. And I think that's, if you look at all the scenarios, like trading our second first-round pick for Jeremy Grant or whatever the case may be, like all those scenarios, I think, I mean, it's unlikely that any of them lead to a championship, but having young guys like pan out and become stars, or like just having to hit on one or two of those picks, and you have guys like Watford, Simons, Nas, all those other young guys stepping up. That to me is the most likely, even though it's still a small percentage. I think it's a bigger, smaller percentage than those other paths. So I would go that route and just hope that you find the next star on your team and you get it organically.
Yeah.
But I think it's pretty clear that they can go that path, and that's not out of the realm of possibility that Dame could come back, Nurk could come back, Ant could come back, and this team is actually really good again.
Yeah, I mean, on good teams, you have role players that fit into their role well, and therefore are greater than the sum of their parts, because you have roles filled with guys who do those roles well. So on paper, somebody in a more secondary role might not jump out at you, but if they play their role on the team well, to the best of their ability, it's going to make the team better than maybe a more flashy name who isn't good as like a fourth or fifth scorer and doesn't do other things despite shoot the ball every time he touches it. So you might know who I'm kind of referencing there. He was our star and small forward to start the season. So I'd rather have a Josh Hart, because that dude gets after it defensively, and then scoring-wise, he can still score the ball. And it just comes down to we got to figure out how to get this team good enough defensively. Because next year, offensively, I have no worries whatsoever. Dame, Ant, and Josh Hart, three-guard lineup offensively is still super dynamic. Probably a top 3 guard rotation offensively going into next year, right? You have other backcourts that maybe are a little bit better offensively than Dame and Ant. You know, you could argue Devin Booker and Chris Paul, but Josh Hart is a one of the best third guards in the league going into next year. That's the role he needs to be playing. He needs to be playing backup guard, playing all the backup guard minutes. You stagger Damon Simons so that Josh Hart plays, 25 minutes a game as the backup shooting guard, and then maybe you play him 5 minutes a game as a small forward in a 3-guard lineup with Dame and Ant, and he gets his 30 minutes per game but comes off the bench. The offense is going to be fine when you have those guys. Nurkic can pass the ball. Watford's looking really solid offensively. And then they're going to have to bring in other players. You got to fill out the forward spots. But offensively, this team is in a very solid position. Would be nice to get another scorer or a scoring forward. But the biggest worry, as it has been for years, is just how do we get this team good enough defensively? And when you have young, hungry guys that get after it, it creates a better culture. It creates a locker room where guys are... It creates a product on the floor where guys are busting their butt more. Because if you see your teammates, right? If you're Damian Lillard and you're playing out there with 4 guys who are just flying around, busting their butt, you're more likely to bust yours. If you're playing out there on the floor with guys that are letting guys drive past them and playing lazy defense and not showing up to road games with energy, like was the case at the start of the season, then that's also contagious. So you need to... And this is what I was saying earlier this year. We needed a guy that could set the tone from an energy standpoint. I tossed out Josh Hart as one of those names, and now we have him. We have a younger team that's hungrier, guys that play hard. That's going to make our defense better than it was to start this season. Even if we don't add like another top-level defender, simply because a lot of our problems at the start of the season were based upon not playing with enough energy, not enough attention to detail, and just, dude, we showed up to road games with our heads in the ground, our heads in the sand. Like, we showed up to road games without effort. We showed up to road games just almost like we were sleepwalking. We started 10-1 this season at home and played solid defense at home. We held a healthy Phoenix Suns team to under 100 points. We held a pretty healthy Memphis Grizzlies team to under 100 points. But when that team went on the road and didn't play with energy, they got blitzed every time. We couldn't win a road game to start the year because of that. So I'm more encouraged going into next year because it seems like we've figured out what we need. We've figured out we need to go younger. We need to get guys that play with more energy. We need to get guys that bring it on the defensive end, and they don't even necessarily have to be great defenders, just as long as they hustle and bring effort. Those are the type of guys we need on this roster. Now it's just, can we get the defensive players to add to that instead of maybe going out and making a trade for Jeremy Grant who might take away from that. That's kind of the next step and what we're looking for this offseason.
All right, so we got in the chat my man Arwin, who is always a Dame hater. Dame doesn't play high level, he plays old. So I have 2 things to say about that. One, we've never seen Dame play under a different coach except for a third of the season with him not being able to move up and down the court. But we weren't playing at this speed either. So to think that he would just come in and be like, no, I'm going to slow the ball down and not let like Watford get a rebound and take it up the floor, Hart get a rebound and push the ball up the court, that's just crazy. Like Dame will fit in. If he's not fitting in, Coach Billups will show him that he needs to do this better and all that kind of stuff. 2, Dame's been hurt, so we don't know how much of that has been affecting his slowing the ball up and stuff the last few years, because it's much easier to play at a slower tempo when you're hurt than when you're feeling 100%. So we don't know yet if this year will rejuvenate him. And I don't want to hear his age crap because this has been one of the most durable players in NBA history up until this year, right? Like there's not many players, maybe not history because like old time players used to play every game no matter what. But like in like modern NBA, like there's not many players that you can count on to play 75 plus games every single season, right? So to say that is like the first time he gets seriously injured and misses part of the season. And then we're also in a situation where like he might not be seriously hurt right now. So like he might just be sitting out to help us in the future as well.
Well, here's the thing. He's played with other players that like to play in the half court too. Like CJ's a half court player as well. CJ's kind of the guy to like slow it down, walk the ball up, isolate in the half court, that sort of thing. Well, Dame is. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say my point is like Steph Curry turned 34 today, right? This is a guy who had injury concerns his entire career. Like after his rookie deal, he only got like 11 million instead of a max contract because they were so worried about his ankles. This is a guy who they tried to trade instead of Monte Ellis because of his ankle problems, and Milwaukee said no in the Andrew Bogut trade because they were worried about his physical condition, right? People thought like his ankles would never allow him to play a full season and all this stuff, right? So then he gets healthy finally, and the guy's still doing it at 34 years old. Dame is like almost 3 years younger than him, so like it's just ridiculous that people like think Dame is washed and can't do anything anymore when all these stars, Harden's older than him, Durant's older than him, and all those guys have been way more injury prone than, or maybe not Harden, but like recently has been. Like all these people have been more like less durable than Dame. But now all of a sudden one time he has to sit out a couple months and it's like, oh, Dame can't do anything anymore. We need to trade him or get rid of him because like there's nothing he could do anymore. He's too old. We can't go young. That's stupid because like he can't play with young players. He's an old head. Like that's not how it is. He's not injury prone. He's really good. He fought his way through an injury for years. I'm telling you guys right now, he's going to make all these comments look completely foolish next year, and I can't wait for it.
I mean, he played every year until this year under Terry Stotts. He played with teams that were kind of built to slow it down, built to play a half-court offense. He didn't, like, and then he played under Chauncey this year, and Chauncey self-admittedly didn't want to mix things too up. He didn't want to make too drastic of changes initially. He tried to like slowly kind of change and mold the team, and guys weren't buying into that. So Dame has never played under this version of Chauncey Billups as a coach and with this type of team, okay? And it's like Dame, why can't Dame run down the court? You know what I mean? There's a certain scenarios where we'll see him run down the dude can run. I don't understand why people think that he can't play a faster pace. It's as much, if not more, a product of just what he has around him than him. I fully expect that if that's one of the emphases next year, and Dame's healthier than he's been in 6 years, and he's playing with a bunch of guys that like to run the floor, Dame's going to play at a faster tempo because there's no logical reason why he can't. What's the logical reason why Dame can't play at a faster tempo? You can say, oh, that's what he's always done, but it's completely different. It's completely different now, so that's not a reason. So you have to come up with another reason to make blasphemous statements like, Dame can't play faster, Dame doesn't want to play, or whatever. Like, why do you think that is if it's not due to who he has around him and potentially the fact that he was dealing with a chronic injury for 6 years, which is now hopefully fixed?
Well, the other thing is, too, I mean, what we're saying is basically Dame is so, like, set in his ways that he's going to come back and demand that we go back to a style that has proven didn't work, right?
Yeah.
Like he's just going to come and be like, no, I know running was kind of working, and if we had me back, it would be awesome, but nah, let's forget all about that. I'm just going to slow the ball down anyway. Like, I'm just going to ignore my coach and stuff like that. Like,
I mean, that's not
but
logical.
no,
So, I
I know.
mean, like, that's the thing. That's all I want is I just want a logical explanation as to why people think that. Go ahead. Like, I want to know why people think that. You know, if that's what they want to say, I'll let them say that, and then I'll go off about it. You know what I mean? Because I don't think that's the case. And that's not logical. So if you have a logical explanation for why Dame can't / wouldn't want to play a faster pace, if it got him easier shots, if it was better for the team, let me know. Do you not think Dame's a team first player? Let me know. You got to explain it better, and that's what we've always done, because what we've always done is had CJ McCollum on the team, had Terry Stotts as coach, and both those guys are gone now. So those are the two biggest parts of the team outside of Dame the past 5 or 6 seasons. And then before that, it was let's slow it down, throw the ball into LaMarcus Aldridge in the post at least 20 times a game. So you gotta get a better explanation for that. I fully expect Dame to kind of buy into playing a little faster pace. And that's the thing is, like, if Ant gets the ball, Ant's going to push, you know, if he wants to push. If Chauncey's telling him to push, Ant likes to push the pace a little bit. And then you have Dame trailing, or Dame kind of filling in the opposite wing as a threat. Like, there's no reason why that can't work. That's my... Okay, yeah, if you're going to insult us, we're not insulting you. We're just arguing your point. So if you're going to get so butthurt about your point being argued that you're going to insult us because you can't have an actual conversation about this, then you're just going to get hidden on this freaking channel because that's ridiculous and childish, all right? So,
Come on, Arwen,
goodbye. No, you're not. Goodbye, all right? We're not going to play that. Anyway, here's the thing with discussing basketball. Bro, just because we argue a comment in chat, or I argue a comment in chat, or Eric argues a comment in chat, doesn't mean it's personal, okay? We're disagreeing with your basketball opinion. We're not disagreeing with you, the person, or, like, it's not like that. And we'll sit here and argue basketball for fun, but it ain't personal. Stop taking it personally.
But those are the same person that will go on social media and say, we don't ever even entertain any kind of point of view, even though they're not even arguing their side. They just totally came at us in a personal way. But whatever.
Yeah, I'm not going to say the last 3 words because that's just sexist, and I guess you're kind of proving who he is. But he said, quit acting like little B words because someone doesn't think like you. So if somebody doesn't think like us, we're not allowed to say why we disagree? That's what we do here. It's very, very simple, okay? You can think whatever you want to think. I'm just asking for a better explanation, and I'm arguing your point. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with you coming in here and saying your viewpoint, even if we think it's ridiculous. Nothing wrong with that. So don't go there and insult us because that's there's no need for that. That's just childish, all right? That's Twitter stuff. This is YouTube. We don't play that. Anyway, I want to move on from this.
All right.
I don't know if you wanted to say anything else to wrap that up, but
just to wrap it up, let me just say, like, you know how people always question Dame's loyalty, like, oh, do you want out now? Do you want out now? Like, type of thing. And he's always like, no, I told you I'm in it to win it in Portland, right? So like every time he says that, what does he say? I want to win a ring in Portland, right?
Yep.
It's not, oh, I want to slow the ball down and score 30 points and do whatever. Like, it's not that. He wants to freaking win, and he wants to win for Portland. And if his coach is telling him to do something, or this is how you get it done, a coach that has his respect and has him or has championship experience, it was a finals MVP, he's going to listen to him. So I just don't like the fact that we're not even going to give Dame a chance to prove any of this right or wrong. And that's fine. If you're proven right and Dame just like completely messes everything up next year, I will refuse to believe that until I actually see it play out that way, because he has not even been the problem in years when we've had problems. But that's just how I feel is once again we're like basically not taking him at his word.
We got a $5 dono. Thank you, Pim, for donating. But your comment, man. Shout out Pim for the $5 dono. He says, Tori, I know Chet Holmgren's your guy, but aren't you afraid of another Sam Bowie situation? Why is Chet Sam Bowie. What? Why is Chet Sam Bowie? Chet has never dealt with injury issues. And sure, he could end up dealing with injury issues in the NBA just like any player could, but there's nothing to suggest he's going to be injury prone because he hasn't been injury prone up to this point. I've heard multiple people say that, or like I've even heard people say, oh, well, he's going to be Greg Oden because the Blazers have a history of drafting injury prone bigs. But it's like those guys had issues before they got drafted, correct? And then Chet hasn't. I don't understand why Chet equals those guys. Right? It's you could say that about any player that you're afraid of them being injury prone in the league. I don't know why it's unique to Chet Holmgren. Just because he's skinny, but Giannis was skinny coming into the league. Has he been super injury prone? Anthony Davis was very skinny coming into the league. Was he injury prone? Jabari Smith's pretty skinny. He's not as skinny as Chet, but I mean, like, you could be worried about him if you're just worried about guys being skinny getting injured. So I don't really understand why people like to compare Chet Holmgren to guys like that because there's no basis for that.
Yeah, and I mean, I was only 5 when Sam Bowie was a rookie, but
so okay, hold on. Let me respond to this while you talk. People say AG is literally injury prone. He wasn't injury prone when he was skinny. He's injury prone now that he put on a lot more weight. No, he's a lot stronger. He's more injury prone. So why would Chet being skinny mean that he's going to be injury prone? Because AD wasn't injury prone early on in his career, correct? He might have missed a little bit of time, but it wasn't because he's skinny. Because guess what? He put on weight and he's still getting injured. So why is it a weight / how skinny you are determination? That doesn't determine if you're injury prone or not.
And I think it was like Durant's fifth or 6th year before he got hurt, I think. But anyways, so Sam Bowie had, if I'm not mistaken, like I said, I was 5 at the time, so I'm just doing this off memory. But I'm pretty sure he had injury concerns going into the NBA. I think he had some foot problems at Kentucky. But this is a guy who, I mean, his rookie year averaged 10 points, 8.6 rebounds, and almost 3 assists and almost 3 blocks a game. Like, people act like he was a scrub or something. You know what I mean? Like, if we get a Bowie that can stay healthy, like, that's actually a really good player. Like, Bowie was legit good. He just got hurt and it didn't work out, right? So the foot problems ruined his career. So, like, anyone can get foot problems, and it could happen at any point. Dame had a foot problem in college, missed a whole year, I think, of college at Weber State because of a foot issue. Didn't really come back to bite him at all in the NBA, right? I think CJ missed the whole year, or all but a few games of his last year at Lehigh after he had that dominant run in the tournament, comes back, and then has a foot problem. I think he had a foot problem again at some point. So you don't know. Like, it could go either way. Like, big men have foot problems. Like Zach Collins wasn't injury prone at all. Doesn't get hurt. Plays almost every game his first 2 years, and then all of a sudden he can't stay healthy the next 2 years.
We've seen injury prone bigs go to being healthy most of the time. Now Brook Lopez has missed most of this year, but the past few seasons he was very healthy. Before that, he was very injury prone. So, like, that's the thing, is any player can get injured with a fluke play or this or that, and, you know, if a couple fluke plays happen in back-to-back years, all of a sudden they're injury prone. You know what I mean? Like, staying healthy is as much about luck as it is anything else. But then there's other guys who, like, you know from the get-go that they're going to be injury prone because they've dealt with multiple, like, serious injuries that are reoccurring enough where you can make that prediction. I just don't understand where it comes down to Chet Holmgren is injury prone. Why do people think Chet Holmgren is injury prone? Chat, if one of you thinks that Chet Holmgren is injury prone, please let me know why. Because the only reason you could say is, oh, he's a big man. But what, you're not supposed to play with big men in the NBA? The only other reason you can say is that he's skinny. But that doesn't automatically mean you're injury prone. It does not automatically mean you're injury prone. So, like, he'll get pushed around a little bit by some bigger guys, but that doesn't mean he's going to get hurt. He has less weight coming down when he jumps. He has, like... I don't see how it means he's more injury prone. I don't really understand that.
Man, so this may surprise some people, but I was like rail thin, could not put on weight.
Mm-hmm.
I was like Chet Holmgren, right? I was like 6'6", 200, like from ninth grade to like probably like 22, 23-ish. And like I could not put on weight, right? And then I went like a whole year. I got like really into like lifting weights every single day and all that kind of stuff. Put on like 20, 30 pounds, finally started bulking up or whatever. And I've been basically having foot problems, knee problems, stuff I never had before when I was smaller. I'm not saying Chet doesn't need to bulk up because he does, but like then it just kind of went from there. And then once I started having those problems, I was a bigger weight, and then I couldn't get back ever. So it just kept gradually getting to this point where it was a double-edged sword where I couldn't lose weight because all my joints hurt and my Achilles hurt and my foot hurt and all this stuff. But like I couldn't lose the weight I needed to take the pressure off those things. So like it's just this like never-ending cycle. So like sometimes you can get stuck in that where you do too much stuff. But like unfortunately, yeah, I mean, I guess it's Portland, so you're gonna always have those people like, oh, just don't drop to center no matter what, right? And I guess that's the thing. But yeah, I don't know. It's just tough, like, because I get people's concern about Chet being skinny, but like just don't make up stuff that's not true.
It's here's the thing is I think a lot of Blazer fans are just absolutely paranoid that, oh, if we draft a big man, he's gonna get hurt. And it's like Chet's the biggest like guy or the tallest guy in the lottery, so it's like, oh, if we draft him, he's gonna get hurt. And then it's the fact that he went to Gonzaga, and for some people, which I think is ridiculous, is the fact that he's a white American-born big man. Like, those things are like, oh, Zach Collins was too, and he went to Gonzaga, and look how injury-prone he was, and when we draft bigs at the top of the draft, they get hurt, so Chet would be a disaster. But nothing about Sam Bowie has anything to do with Chet Holmgren. Nothing about Greg Oden has anything to do with Chet Holmgren. Nothing about Zach Collins has anything to do with Chet Holmgren. They're all completely different players. It's there's no actual similarities in reality in terms of those guys' bodies. Like it's frustrating, man, that people act like he's the next Zach Collins or the next Sam Bowie or the next Greg Oden just because I don't know, the reasoning for it never makes sense to me. So
yeah, and I mean, we don't necessarily need a center either. So, like, I mean, I get that if you think Chet's only a center, but we talked about this earlier on the stream that I think he can play both power forward and center a little bit. He's mobile enough to do that. He's smart enough to do that. So, yeah.
I mean, I think he's a power forward for sure. Like, he's mobile enough to guard pretty much every four in the league. Like, he has so much length that he doesn't have to get as close to guys to contest their shots on the perimeter, so he actually is able to play with a little bit more of a cushion, and then he also moves his feet differently and does a really good job with guys driving at him, just kind of like backing up while still being close enough to contest or block their jump shots. Like, he defends the perimeter very, very well. He's a power forward. Okay, maybe if he bulks up enough and becomes big, he's a center because his skill set is more unique as a center offensively with his ball handling, passing, all that type of stuff. But he's a power forward. Right? If we draft him, he's going to be the power forward. He's going to be in a Evan Mobley type role and hopefully have a Evan Mobley type impact if we draft him as that, 7-foot big that can shoot, decently athletic for a 7-footer that can block shots at an extremely high level. And you look at what Evan Mobley's done for Cleveland's defense, he's completely turned their franchise around. So you bring in Chet. The dude can knock down threes at a 40% clip in college. Like, dude shoots the ball really well. Dude can pass handle a little bit. And then if he could have in my opinion, I might be too high on him, but he could have a borderline all defensive second team impact defensively as a rookie, just like Evan Mobley has.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about that, but the thing is, I mean, part of the thing to vault us into contention, right, is we're going to have to take a risk and it has to pan out, right? So you have this unique skill set. So if you play it safe and say, we do like Jack Norbert's example and take Keegan Murray instead of Chet, right? Let's say we took Keegan Murray, right? And we take the safe one, right? So like, yeah, I mean, that could work out. I mean, it could be fine, but like ultimately in my mind, those kind of decisions limit your potential because you're playing it safe versus taking a risk. And so I would always gamble on the Giannis or the Rudy Gobert or someone else, because you have to hit on a risk in order, in my opinion, to do that. And worst case scenario, I mean, we talked about this last stream at length, right? We have Trenton Watford, who is proving that he might push whoever's the 4 next year for minutes right away anyway. So, like, I mean, I don't think we're going to have to rely on whatever rookies we get to be a star right away. So in my mind, you take the guy whoever has you deem. Now, it's fine to disagree and think that Chet doesn't have this high of a ceiling, but in my mind, wherever we pick, you pick the guys with the highest ceiling, and if they hit their ceiling combined with the guys we already have, then we're on. Like it's game time, right? Mm-hmm. But if you just play it safe, to me, you're not trying to win at all. You're just trying to get marginally better, and that's once again, I'm not specifically saying Keegan would be that thing. I'm just saying I would just go for whoever has the highest upside with those picks.
I'm gonna lose my mind having to argue about Chet for the next couple.
Yeah,
months,
I mean, like, and it's fine if you don't like Chet as a prospect. That's fine, but like, tell us why you don't like it.
Yeah, and reevaluate your player evaluations.
Yeah, but like, I mean, there's lots of guys. See, this is my problem. Is I like Chet, but like I like 10 guys in this draft, right? Like a lot. I'm in love with the top 10 in this draft, man. I like every single one of them, and like I want like 2 of those guys so badly on this team, and that's why it'd be so disappointing if the ping pong balls don't go our way, or if New Orleans makes the playoffs and we only get 1, or like our pick moves down worse than it is right now, and all that stuff. So, yeah, I mean, I agree with Benz that right now I think Jabari would be a better fit, but I mean, it's gonna take getting the number 1 pick probably to get Jabari. So unless we get the number 1 pick, or the number 2 pick and someone number 1 takes Chet, that's not happening. So, but yeah, like at number 2, I don't think it's the same risk. Like if we get number 1 and take Chet, I kind of understand people being disappointed in that, just because, especially if Jabari turns out to be really good, So, like, I kind of get that, but if it's number 2 and we take him, like, it's not the same as taking Bowie over Jordan or Oden over Durant and stuff like that, because we didn't get that other guy first.
Yeah, I mean, like, but Jabari has a bunch of question marks too. Like,
I'm not saying that. Yeah.
I know, but that's what I'm saying is like, people love the idea of Jabari, but Jabari still has a long ways to go to be what people think he can be. Because the dude can shoot the lights out of the ball, but he doesn't know how to handle the ball. Like, he can dribble a little bit, but his ball handling and his dribble drive game are not developed whatsoever. And his upside is going to come, if you can develop that, then he's going to be a star. Like, no doubt about it, if you can develop that part of his game. But that part of his game has a long ways to go before he is like, getting close to his ceiling. So that's the thing. Like, that's a question mark with him. It's the weight with Chet. With Jaden Ivey, it's some of his decision-making, and will his jump shot translate to the NBA? Because his jump shot's a little questionable. With Banchero, his jump shot's questionable, and his defense is a little bit questionable, and he gets by kind of like bullying people in college. I don't know how much he's going to be able to do that in the NBA. Like, there's question marks with every player in this draft. It's just people love the idea of Jabari and hate the idea of Chet. And I feel like it's not even a situation where they just watch both the guys with an open mind. Chet, it's, for some people, they can't get past the fact that he's a white American-born big man and skinny, so they think he's going to get injured. And then Jabari, it's like, oh, the way he shoots the ball, if, he can develop that dribble drive game. You know what I mean? It's optimism with Jabari and it's a lot of pessimism with Chet. In reality, I think they're pretty even as the number 1 and 2 prospects in this draft, and Blazer fans should be happy if they get either of those guys. We don't know who's going to be better. No GM knows who's going to be better between Chet and Jabari. It's a crapshoot at that point. You take one of the two and you be happy with it and you be excited. The fact that we were able to get one of those two guys. So I don't really understand. I know that Blazer fans will be disappointed if we take Chet instead of Jabari. I just don't agree that they should be.
Yeah, and I still come back to this. If you have Chet or Jabari, either one of them, and you've got Dame and Ant is your backcourt. They're driving down the lane and kicking out to those guys, and they're the ones getting these open shots that we've been seeing for years with Aminu and Harkless, and onto like Rodney Hood actually had a good percentage doing that. Like if players like that can have okay success doing it, I can't imagine like a potential star player getting those kind of looks that they've never gotten in their life, right? Because they've always been probably the best players on their teams, going back to like high school, junior high, and stuff like that. And they've probably gotten all the defensive attention. And so like having those type of skill sets on offense, and the fact that both of them project to be solid defenders in the NBA, if not elite defenders, it's just like either one would be good to me. And that's why I'm not worried about it. Because if we get either one, I think we're in a good position, and I'm not going to worry about them getting injured or whatever. I mean, yeah, if it happens, that would suck. But, I mean, like, there's so many good – you mentioned Anthony Davis. How many times has he hurt a year, right? But if he was coming out in this draft, would we not draft him or something because he's injury-prone, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Like,
so
back in the day, Amari Stoudemire, that, like – he came out of high school, but he was like amazing. And then he had microfracture surgery. And then I think he had to get a second one, but like in between that, he was amazing again. And then like after the second one, he was never quite the same, but like, I don't know. Like it's hard to know. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I wouldn't worry about that or factor that into my decision making unless they were already injury prone. Like if it's a guy who's already been hurt multiple times, had knee issues, like Harry Giles, right? Like he falls to 20th because he blew out his knee, I think, in high school and college, both, or if I'm not mistaken. But like that's hard to trust, Like, yeah. But he still gets drafted because he has this immense potential, but you don't draft him at 1 or 2 anymore, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I'm not as high on Jabari's defense as you. I think he's a good defender, but I don't know if he has elite defensive potential. He's a better perimeter defender than Chet, but Chet's a much better rim protector. That's kind of the differences with those guys' defense. So I'm a little bit more sold on Chet's defense. That's why I have Chet number 1. That's why I want Chet over Jabari for the Blazers, because I think you just got to try and give Dame and Ant the best defensive front court possible. And obviously you want guys that shoot. You don't want like a great defensive power forward and a great defensive small forward, but neither of them can shoot. Okay, because then you're just almost running back the Aminu Harkless situation. You want 3-and-D guys that can do a little bit off the dribble, that have, some offensive skills. And Jabari and Chet can both fill that mold. I'm just a little bit more sold on Chet. And seeing how Evan Mobley at the 4, what that's done for Cleveland this year, I want to see Chet at the 4 next to Nurkic, just to see how good that could be defensively. And then I like the idea of both those bigs playing off each other offensively as well.
See, I think Jabari's going to be, like he's already kind of proven this, that he can guard quicker guards and stuff on the perimeter and stay in front of them. So I kind of like that fit better than a rim protecting fit.
Yeah, I think Chet can do that a little better than you. Yeah, I think Chet can do that a little better than people think. Though
I agree. They're both going to be elite defenders in my mind. I just think for a Dame and Ant backcourt, they need someone who can guard the perimeter a little better versus rim protector, because that would also help Nurk's rim protection get back to where it was in previous years too, if we're having more of our perimeter defense stay in front of their guys, in my opinion.
Yeah. But see, here's the thing where it comes to, like, if we're going to play really aggressive on the pick and rolls, I think it's better to have Chet at the 4, because if Nurkic is playing a lot of pick and rolls and playing up on them, you want a second rim protector behind that. And I love the idea of Nurkic being able to go out there and trap pick and rolls, and then, if they get the ball out of the trap, you got Chet Holmgren there waiting for you, okay? And then Chet, mobility-wise and with his length, I think could be a menace trapping pick and rolls in the NBA, because he has quick enough feet to get out there and recover, and then he has so much length. That's you remember what AD and Drew Holiday did to Dame. I mean, Chet has more length than AD, and he's mobile. So that's the thing with Chet on this team that would be nice to see playing Chauncey, the type of defense that Chauncey wants to play.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that's why I liked Rocco, because Rocco can protect the rim. The problem is he just was always in the wrong spot, but that's why I liked Rocco behind it. That's why I like Zach Collins and Yusuf Nurkic, because Yusuf Nurkic could play up and then Zach Collins could kind of protect the rim. So that's why I think it's a luxury to have 2 rim protectors, because it allows you to do a little bit more, play your center a little bit more aggressively on pick and rolls because you have his back covered.
Yeah, I still think Jabari could be a decent secondary rim protector, but Chet's more of a first rim protector, or like a first option there, yeah. So he can do a little of both. So it's kind of just, oh my, the Lakers are down 20. That's hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to nitpick and debate both these guys for months.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
well, I mean, I have to say this. What do you mean Chet's not going to fall to us? No crap, he's not going to fall to 8 or whatever. We're obviously only going to get Chet or Jabari if we move up to 1 or 2. And this thing called the draft lottery. So anyone who says we have no chance to get these guys, we actually have I don't know what the percentage is for. We have a 32% chance right now, or something like that. 26%.
Moving into the top 4.
Moving into the top 4, and then so a slightly less than that of being 1 and 2, obviously. But there is almost a third chance of us moving up if we stay kind of in the same area we're at. So I just don't get saying, like, oh, there's no chance that'll happen.
That spew crap, man.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. Cat has 60 points. Cat's the first 60-point scorer this year, Eric. The Timberwolves have 146 points with a minute remaining.
They had 121, I think, at the end of the...
Yeah, they did, which is insane.
Third quarter. That's so crazy.
Freaking Spurs, man.
Cats only scored 4 this quarter. What a bum.
The Kings are up 63-43.
Nice. And the Raptors are up 30-10.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that doesn't really affect us too much, but
no.
The Kings got it together today, somehow, some way, for some reason. Good for them, and good for us. Probably bad for them, actually. You want to look at the Tankathon?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
All right, cool. Let me get it ready. Let me pull it up, and then bring it up. Yeah, I'll just go to Around the NBA slide. Even though we don't have Around the NBA graphics today, I'll just do it like that. That's probably the easiest way to do it. All right, cool. So, Tankathon. Here it is. This is obviously not counting the Kings winning, which it looks like they might win today for once. So good for them. Right now, we are half a game behind San Antonio. San Antonio is going to lose, so we're still going to be a game behind them. But we are tied in the win column. So... Oops, I didn't mean to do that. We are tied in the win column with San Antonio. They've played 2 more games than us after tonight. So, if we keep losing, if we lose out, we'll at least be tied with San Antonio. We're not going to lose out, but I'm looking at the win column as much as anything here. The Knicks have 2 more wins than us. The Pelicans have 2 more wins than us. The Lakers at 29, Washington at 29. So we do have a bit of a cushion above New York and above the Pelicans. That's the thing. I'd rather us be 8 and the Pelicans be 9 than the Pelicans be 8 and us and 9.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want them to pass us, because obviously we'd have better chance than them getting into the top 4 compared to vice versa.
I do have some news on New Orleans. CJ is been upgraded to questionable for tomorrow night, so it looks like he'll be back sometime this week from health and safety protocols.
Okay. And who do they play tomorrow?
They play the Suns.
Good. Because I don't know what I'm rooting for the Pelicans to do. I don't want them to have that playing game at home. I don't want them to pass the Lakers. The Lakers are a freaking joke. I assume LeBron didn't play today. They only have one less win than them, so I don't want them to pass the Lakers. Because I feel like if New Orleans gets that playing game at home, they're winning. Okay, the Spurs still have a chance of getting that 10th playing game, which would be the best case scenario. LeBron
is playing.
What?
Yeah, he played 9 minutes in the first quarter. So.
How are they so bad?
I mean, do you really have to ask that this year?
I mean, I know, but like, how does LeBron I feel like LeBron could at least not let him be down 30-6. You know what I mean? Like, just out by his own.
3 shots, 1 for 3 from the field, minus 20.
So he's just not doing. Okay, yeah. Huh.
Westbrook's 0 for 3.
Of course he is.
Carmelo's 0 for 3.
Of course he is.
Yeah. Austin Reeves 0 for 4.
Oh man.
Monk 0 for 2. Yeah, they got a lot of overs. They're 3 for 25 from the field. Holy crap.
That's really bad. So yeah, Portland is going to be a game behind. If the Kings win, Portland will be only 1 game behind them in the win column. They'll still be 2.5 back. Because the Kings after
slander, I just read off his box score numbers. I did it for several players. It was not meant as a diss on specifically Melo.
Yeah, Portland just played their 67th game. The Kings right now are playing their 70th game.
Jeez.
So that could be good news. They get rest down the stretch, so they might be more healthy or more rested for some of their games that they're playing and might be able to take care of business. So they're catchable. Because they win today, we're only 1 game back in the win column. We just got to lose. And the problem is, if we play like this on the road against the Spurs or the Thunder, we're probably winning those games. You know, if we play like this on the road against Houston, we're definitely winning that game.
Trending Harder too good, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what it is. Got to rest Josh Hart because his back has been bugging him, so got to rest him. Anyway, we are, 8th, 26% chance top 4, 6% chance number 1. Hopefully Sacramento takes care of business. Also, I mean, there is an outside shot at catching Indiana. We're 3 back in the win column, so it would be good to catch them. So I guess we're rooting for Indiana to win as well. I don't think Oklahoma City is catchable at all. We are 6.5 games back. So Indiana, Sacramento, San Antonio, rooting for them to win. Same with New York, too. And then Pelicans, I hope they lose tomorrow. I'm kind of back and forth on them. I kind of want them to be right where they are. I would love for San Antonio to pass them. I just don't think that's going to happen. So assuming that doesn't happen, I just want the Pelicans to stay where they are right now.
Mm-hmm.
Let's simulate things and see if we can get some post-game luck for once on the Tankathon sim. 14 Atlanta, 13 Charlotte, 12 Washington, 11 is the Lakers. At 10, you got the Pelicans pick going to us. Good news. At 9, you got New York. This is good news. No team has moved up. Hopefully, Portland's not at 8. At 8, we got Sacramento. We finally had some post-game Tankathon luck, Eric. Sacramento moves down 2. The Spurs also moved into the top 4. So Portland and San Antonio move into the top 4. At 7, you got Indiana. 6, you got Detroit. So that means that OKC moved into the top 4. At 5, you got Orlando. So then Houston's in the top 4. Houston, OKC, Portland, San Antonio. At 4, OKC. At 3, San Antonio. At 2.
Sorry, before you reveal the top 2.
Yeah.
There was no chance in hell we could move up to the
I
top
thought
2,
there was no chance that we were going to top 2. Oh, man, I don't know what happened.
We can't possibly get top 2, so why are we even talking about it?
Yeah, it's a broken site. Fix your site, Tankathon. Draft lottery doesn't work that way. It's rigged. We all know that. And they're not going to give Portland a top 2 pick, so no chance. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready to see number 2?
So we get 1 or 2.
Yep. It's us and Houston. At number 2, it's Portland. At number 1, it's Houston.
That's the exact scenario we were talking about.
Yeah, 2 and 10. Houston goes Jabari Smith at 1, I think.
Yeah.
He just screams Houston to me. I don't know why. But him and Şengün. I mean, Chet could be a good fit next to Şengün. Because Şengün isn't really I don't think he's going to be a rim protector.
That'd be awesome if Houston took Banchero.
See, but then we're debating. See, I would want
Yeah.
Houston to just take one of the two so we could take the other one instead of like, they took Banchero, shoot, Chet versus Jabari. And then if we take Chet, there's going to be a crowd the whole following year. Every time Chet has a little bit of a rough game, they're going to be saying, should have taken Jabari.
Yep.
And if it's vice versa, I'll be sitting here on stream saying, should have taken Chet. I won't do that. I won't be that obnoxious. But, yeah. Chet and Zach Collins in San Antonio, front court of the future. I mean, I think Houston goes Jabari, and then Portland would go Chet. And then San Antonio goes... San Antonio's a team that could use a Jaden Ivey. Next to DeJounte. Because they have a lot of shooting guards, but none of them are good. What do you think?
Man, I don't know. It's so hard to predict. But I mean, they could use the power forward, I guess, and then move Keldon down to the 3. They've been playing him at the 4 a lot, so I could see him going either way.
I mean, Keldon, I feel like they could play at the 2 as well. Especially if you have Banchero at the 4 to kind of handle some of the ball handling. So they'd probably go Banchero, then OKC goes... Honestly, at 4, OKC doesn't really make sense for Jaden Ivey. They have a lot of guards. They got SGA, they got Lou Dort, Trey Mann's looking good. Aaron Wiggins is even looking good, but, you know, they're not going to not draft Ivey because of Aaron Wiggins. But I feel like at 4, OKC would potentially go AJ Griffin.
Maybe.
Like, that would be the team at 4 that I think might take AJ Griffin over Jaden Ivey.
Yeah, I think they just didn't take the best player available. I don't think they worry about fit, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they probably trade Dort. Dort.
Honestly, AJ Griffin, it kind of applies a lot of the stuff to me, the stuff you were saying about Keegan Murray. It's like, I think he's kind of a safe fit for a good team like us, you know, or like a wannabe good team. Whereas, like, I think a team like Oklahoma City would shoot for someone who has star potential, not necessarily high-end 3-and-D role player type.
Yeah, I mean, I think AJ Griffin has more star potential,
though. I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm just saying I think Ivy obviously has a way higher ceiling, I think, in terms of star potential.
Yeah, I think whichever team gets AJ Griffin is going to want to try and mold his playmaking, turn him into a playmaker. Like, he can handle the ball, and he has decent burst. And that's with dealing with a leg injury before the season, so who knows if he's even 100%. I just feel like that ball handler, like, he's shiftier than a Keegan Murray, a little better ball handler, so I trust him creating from the perimeter a little bit more.
And also, I agree with Alvaro that OKC could throw a huge wild card and take Sharp.
That would be the team to take Sharp.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's say for fun they take Sharp. At 5, Orlando also, AJ Griffin might make more sense for them than Jaden Ivey because they have a ton of guards.
Yeah. At this point, I think somewhat like Detroit's trading up for
Yeah. But imagine, like, Orlando goes AJ Griffin, then Detroit at 6. They're like, oh, we got screwed, but then they get Jaden Ivey at 6.
I think what would happen would be Detroit would trade up, or they'd make a trade with Oklahoma City, because then they could take Sharp at 6 still, and Detroit could get Ivy then at 4.
Yeah, so, like, their pick in the future first, probably.
Yeah,
like the Luka, Trey Young
exactly.
trade.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. And then OKC gets another first-round pick. They loves those. Detroit takes Ivy. Orlando would probably take AJ Griffin at that point. Then OKC takes Sharp. And then Indiana at 7. I feel like Johnny Davis has dropped enough where, like, Keegan Murray is kind of in the same tier as him.
Yeah, I was going to say that has Keegan Murray all over it, because they do need a power forward, especially if they don't re-sign TJ Warren. And I think he would be really good with Halliburton and that team they're kind of building there, next to Miles Turner as well.
Yeah, so Keegan Murray there. Sacramento at 8. I feel like they could use a guard now, believe it or not. You know, they traded Hield and Halliburton for Sabonis, so I feel like Johnny Davis at 8 would be the pick there for Sacramento. At 9, who do you think New York goes with at 9?
man, my dream scenario would be if this is how the draft was going so far, that they take Ty
That's who
Washington.
I think they would take.
That would be my dream. Or yeah, as Mr. T points out, Dyson Daniels could factor in here at this point. I don't know about this high, but yeah, I could see them taking a point guard. I could also see them. I mean, yeah, I don't know, because Matherin would fit pretty good next to RJ Barrett as your shooting guard, small forward as well. So
Yeah. I
I
think they
don't know.
go Ty Washington,
Yeah,
though. They kind of need a point guard for the future, and I think he's
man.
also big enough to play some too.
And then, oh god,
And
that would.
here's the thing with Kentucky guards. Like, Kentucky guards the past few years have, like, done better in the NBA than did in college. Tyrese Maxey, Tyler Hero, Emmanuel Quickly, who's on the Knicks. Emmanuel Quickly was, like, not even looked at as he was like a fringe second round pick, and then he got drafted in the first, and everybody thought New York reached, and now it looks solid. He struggled this year, but you can see the talent. So Ty Washington at 9, I think at 9, and then 10, Eric.
Man, I mean, I don't know how much of this is wishful thinking, but if we ended up with this scenario, got Jabari or Chet at 2, and then we still had a chance to get like Benedict Mathurin at 10,
Yeah,
gosh,
at
that
10,
would
I'm
be
taking Mathurin.
that would be a home run draft, man. We'd be
Chet and
so good.
Mathurin.
We'd be. I mean, I would be tempted still at Tari, but man, you can't. I don't think you'll pass up Mathurin if he's there at 10.
Yeah. I mean, you could always trade down like 10 for 17, 20 and like another asset, and then at 17 you hope like Agbaji or Tari or maybe Jovic is there.
Yeah.
You know, like there's some decent prospects throughout this range that I'm kind of even on. But if Mathurin got taken at 9, then I'd be more willing to do this. If Mathurin wasn't taken at 9, then that's who I'd want at 10. I'm not like as high on Mathurin as some other people, but I think he's the best player on the board at 10. It makes sense from a positional fit, and he's played. He's the more I've watched him, the more I've started to like him.
And the other thing too, if we take him at 10, there could be a lot of teams calling us even after we take him. So if it did get down to like, OKC's pick at 15 or Houston's pick at 16, and Agbaji's still on the board, and we could trade Mathurin for Agbaji and then a future first or something, or some sort of other compensation, man, that would be an extremely intriguing.
Yeah, you'd have a lot of things that you could do with that 10th pick, and that's the thing. It's like if you're trying to pull off trades and Mathurin is there, I feel like Mathurin is an easier fit than like a Ty Washington. I think teams would be higher on Mathurin. I just think New York at 9 would go with Ty Washington. So you might be able to get a team like Toronto to trade OG for this 10th pick for maybe Mathurin. But I don't know how Mathurin fits in there, but that's just kind of an example. Like you might have more buying power with this pick if Mathurin's still there. And honestly, the day before the draft, teams might know like already the top 10 at this point. You know what I mean? That's kind of how it goes. The day before the draft, teams start to figure out, okay, this team's taking this guy, this team's taking this guy. So at that point, that might be when we swing a trade with this 10th pick, depending on who teams might think will still be on the board.
I forgot who it was, but someone was asking me to explain my Johnny Davis crush earlier. I have a thing now for players who improve a ton from freshman to sophomore year. I think it just shows that they have a great work ethic, good head on their shoulders. So like the Tyrese Halliburton jump, the Johnny Davis jump, the Keegan Murray jump, like those kind of players, to me, I'm not worried about if they're just getting by on their athleticism or if they're going to put in the time necessary to do it at the next level. So that's why those kind of players in recent years have started. I've given them a boost in my ratings because like I can count on them. It's like the Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum type thing, right? Where you knew those guys wouldn't be in the league if they didn't have insane work ethics, right? You could even, it's not freshman to sophomore, but Koloko was the most improved player in the year in the Pac-12 this year. Matherin took a big jump. So those kind of guys, to me, you can count on to come in. They're going to do whatever the coach wants. They're going to be coachable. They're smart. They got good work ethic, and I just like having those kind of players. So I kind of give those players a boost. And just Johnny Davis has kind of fallen off these last few weeks because he got hurt. He had a couple bad games also in the last few weeks, but there was a stretch pretty much the whole rest of the season where he was absolutely dominating like a conference that has 9 teams in the tournament, and he was leading a team that I don't think is as talented as any of the teams. Maybe they're more talented than Rutgers, maybe, but like outside of them, I don't know if you can say Wisconsin has more talent on their team than any of the other 8 tournament teams from the Big Ten. And that guy led them to the regular season title in the Big Ten. So like I put a lot of stock on that. That guy, he's not necessarily the most athletic player. He's not necessarily the flashiest or whatever, but like he absolutely dominated like in games against Jaden Ivey and Keegan Murray and stuff like that, where those players that were potentially going to be stars heading into the season, and he made them look kind of silly in some of those games. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying I like his fit for the Blazers, but I'm just saying this is why I like him as a prospect for just in general.
For me, like the biggest thing I try and focus on is how prospects games translate to the NBA. Like that's a huge thing with me. And it's not as easy of a transition for him to the NBA as I think it is for Jaden Ivey, because Jaden Ivey's athleticism, quickness is going to be a major asset in the NBA, whereas Johnny Davis isn't quite as athletic, and then his outside shots questionable. I just don't know how that combination. I mean, he could work on both those things. You know, people think you can't work on athleticism, but you absolutely can. And you know, his shot's good enough. He takes some difficult shots. So I'm not saying this as like a sure thing. It's a question mark with me how his game translates from college to the NBA. I just don't know how it's going to work itself out, and that's why GMs are what they are and scouts are what they are, because they're the ones who are paid to figure out if that's the case or not, you know. So it's just guys that don't separate themselves athletically, I'm a little bit more questionable on how their game translates to the NBA, especially if they're not like a sniper of a shooter or like, you know, really good super shifty ball handler. So that's the thing, is like he's good enough at a bunch of things where like he could end up being really good because he does, you know, it's not like he's starting at a negative in terms of some of the traits he has offensively. I don't know how his game translates to the NBA, if it translates as like a top scorer.
What changed my mind was in the games in the middle of the season when I was watching him, he had not shown any of this last year. I mean, he didn't show much last year, but like last year he couldn't do this. But this year he was getting like off the drive and then would stop on a dime and pull up, or, you know, like get the guy going on his heels and then spin around and shoot like a little mid-range, kind of like a la CJ McCollum or Malcolm Brogdon type moves. And those kind of plays, to me, if Ivy had those in his game, I mean, he does, but he's like then hesitant to shoot those, right?
Yeah.
So like that's certainly fixable with Ivy, and if he learns how to do that, he might be the best player in this draft, and like a John Morant type superstar. But like, I just like that Davis developed. He's like being not the most athletic. You develop a go-to move or whatever like that, and like you said, he had to take a ton of tough shots. Where, depending on the offense, like that's why I don't really like him as like your main guy on a team. But like if he's got a good backcourt mate, like Ivy and Johnny Davis together would be insane. Like I'm not saying there's a way to get both those guys, but like for a rebuilding team, or like you put him next to like an SGA or someone like that, I think it would be crazy. But like, I just don't. Yeah, so I don't like him as like being the star of your team. I just think he'd be just like a really, really good, reliable, like second or third option.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's not maybe that doesn't get him drafted in the top 8. Maybe he slips a little bit because of that. Just like some of those guys I mentioned, like a CJ fell to 10. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
uh, you know, Brogdon we always talk about fell to the second round. Middleton fell to the second round. He's not as old as
Yeah.
those guys, but
Yeah.
like it was just kind of like safe, like we talked about, and so that might get him to fall, but that's just kind of the reasons I like him because he did
Yeah.
develop that part of his game, even though
Yeah.
he didn't really have the skills for it.
I just don't know how safe he is because I think his floor is lower than maybe what some other guys think, just because like if he doesn't end up being a good NBA 3-point shooter, and then he's not able to separate much with that his athleticism. I really like his mid range game, but it's hard in the NBA to be efficient enough on mid range if you're not like also getting to the rim consistently and knocking down threes. Like guys, I think the best players in the NBA kind of use the mid range to keep defenses honest when they drive. It helps them get to the rim more. It's more of kind of it shouldn't be your number one way of scoring in the league. So that's where my concern is like I think like his floor would just be a guy that isn't that good defensively, like is okay, but the a little bit of lack of athleticism holds him back a little bit, and then he doesn't knock down shots. I've seen players like that end up being kind of just not that good in the league where they dominated in college. I mean, look at Evan Turner in college. Evan Turner was one of those guys. So Johnny Davis isn't Evan Turner, but
his shot looks miles better than.
Oh, absolutely. But like, didn't Evan Turner shoot 40% in college?
I don't remember what it was, but it's also closer. So
yeah, that's
but
true.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I see what you're saying, but at the same time, like we haven't even mentioned, his defense has potential to be
Oh yeah,
elite
absolutely.
even without his less. So like
Yeah.
even if he's not a good 3-point shooter in the NBA, I still think he could be a useful player. Now, obviously, if you take him at a top 10 pick, you don't want him to be a role player, but like I just don't think he has like
Yeah.
that low of a floor because he's smart and he plays defense and has a good work ethic. So I think he can improve on whatever he's not doing right.
I think Chet, Jabari, Banchero, Ivy, AJ Griffin, and Keegan Murray all have higher floors than him.
Mm.
So he kind of I like his ceiling maybe a little bit more than a Keegan Murray. So I might have him above Keegan Murray for that reason, but
those two are both really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why dude. If we get 2 top 10 picks, I'm loving it. We're set, man.
I just always end up being like really nitpicky with like 7 to 14 portion of the draft. I end up just being like super nitpicky and like kind of, I think a little bit more negative on guys, or focusing a little bit more on the negatives. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. I don't. That's just kind of I just know I end up nitpicking guys, and I know you know that as well. I end up nitpicking guys like 7 through 14 a lot, and then I always end up really liking somebody in the 20s and the 30s, and I end up kind of being more positive towards guys later in the draft. Whereas I think you're a little bit more higher on the guys 7 through 14, and then maybe a little bit more negative on the guys later through the draft. Would you agree with that?
Um,
Not saying either one is a good or bad thing, just kind of the way we look at things.
I'd say once again, this isn't a bad thing either, but once you have a narrative on someone, I think it's hard to change it. And I think I'm a little more like, I like all these guys, like I just like everyone, kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean,
but
I can't think of anybody off the top of my head. There's been a couple guys that I've completely turned around on, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But you're always the type that's like, oh, give me a guy like in the 35 to 42 range that you think will be outdo his draft range prospect. And I'm just like, I don't know. I like all of them, or I don't like any of them.
Yeah, that's the narrative. That's the thing.
You
this
always
year.
like want to, yeah.
There's just always like that one guy. You know what I mean? That like it's always fun to nail those guys. So I always try and find that one guy.
David Roddy. I mean, I don't know. Like, you love him, but like I'm just kind of like, I like his overall stats. Like looking at the stat sheet, and then you watch him do some stuff, but like it's like you talk about translation to the NBA. It's like sometimes it's hard to see him kind of translating, but
I think it's hard to see him translating at this weight. I think he
Right.
just needs to lose weight, which I think is possible. So that's why it's like you get him in, you have him lose a lot of weight. He's probably going to end up being quicker and more athletic. He's already decent in that regard. And I think he's big enough to play the three. And then you look at like he can handle the ball, he can shoot, and he can pass. So if you get him to lose weight so he's quicker, it'll probably make him more and better defensively. Like that just seems like a steal to me. So, like, that's the thing is I'm watching him, imagining him, like, 30 pounds lighter. You know, I'd love to draft him and Chet and then just, like, take 30 pounds from him and give him to Chet, and then we're good.
Beeks asked what prospects we've been very wrong about recently. I can confidently say the biggest one is LaMelo Ball. Neither Tori or I like LaMelo Ball. But in our defense, there is no way you could look at his shooting numbers and say, like, oh, he's just going to be like a 40% three-point shooter in the NBA. Like, anyone who said that is just like, was just, that was hopefulness. That wasn't proven by any level that he played at up until the NBA, and all of a sudden he just becomes like a better shooter and stuff. But like, so I was thinking kind of what Tori was saying about Johnny Davis is that like, because he couldn't shoot, he was gonna struggle.
Yeah,
too.
but he was shooting 27% from three in Australia. So like it was a reasonable argument. It just didn't end up working out that way, which is fine. Both of us really like Darius Baisley, and he hasn't really panned out so far. I think both of us like Chandler Hutchison, and he never panned out, but he was injured, so I don't know if that counts.
Obi Toppin says Trevin.
Obi Toppin, I get, but Obi Toppin's been nice in limited minutes this year. Like he's
been okay.
He just hasn't knocked down threes, but in 15 minutes a game, he's averaging 7 points per game and 3.5 boards. I mean, per 36, that's 17 and 8. You know what I mean? It's just he hasn't knocked down threes. It's like if he was knocking down threes and then playing more minutes, I don't think anybody would be saying he's a bust of an eighth pick. I think he needs to get out of New York.
Same draft. Okongwu and James Wiseman. It's really hard because
both those guys have been hurt.
Yeah. Wiseman, I'm not ready to say is a bust yet. Okongwu's been hurt, but tying this back to the game, Okongwu's been really, really good defensively, and he had a game earlier in the season where he kind of frustrated Giannis when he was guarding him, and our guy Trendon Watford, man, he put on one of the best moves I've seen a young guy make on him in the post. And he kind of backed him down and turned around. That was just like a veteran, like 20-point per game score type move. And this guy Trendon's growing up right in front of our eyes, man.
Same draft. I guess I was wrong on Kyra Lewis Jr. He got hurt this year. It was only his second year, but I was really
You had him up as like 5th at one point.
Yeah,
once again, it's hard to say with the injuries.
Yeah, I really like Kyra Lewis. After that, Aaron Nesmith hasn't really panned out so far, and that was your guy, so that's back. I hated Cole Anthony's game coming into the league, so I was wrong, Cole Anthony. But then there's players I'm right on, like Tyrese Maxey. That same draft I loved. I thought he was like borderline top 10 prospect, and he was taken 21st. I thought that was a steal.
There's so many guys. So leading up to drafts, like you and I, the biggest example of this that I can think of is Mo Bamba, where we both like him, right, a lot, and then he goes to a team where the second he's drafted, we're both like, that's a bad situation for him. He's not going to pan out, right?
Yep.
So like some of that's fit. Like Trevin brings up Teo Maladon, like he's behind SGA, and like I don't know how much time he's really gotten. He's still pretty young, so like I don't know if you can necessarily say that. But like Bamba gets drafted by a team that already has Vucevic, and they don't end up trading him for 2.5 years. Like how can you really say that? And to your point about Baisley, I mean, we both knew he was like a long-term prospect too, but it's become like we need this instant gratification right now, right?
Yeah.
And so like the Zach Collins pick was supposed to be for the year he got hurt was supposed to be his first year he was even supposed to contribute, yet he was good enough to like come in and play right away. But so yeah, it's just it's tough. But yeah,
I
I
think
mean, there's guys like Halliburton who I had him as my 5th rated prospect that year, and
yeah, and I loved him too, but I also like Killian Hayes just as much.
Mhm.
So, it's hit or miss, and you will never find somebody that bats 90% in the draft, or else they'd be the GM that everybody wants. Last year, Herbert Jones and Ayo Dosunmu were my 2 favorite potential second round sleepers. I had Ayo Dosunmu ranked 22nd. I believe he went 38th, and I thought that was a steal. I should have had him a little bit higher thinking back. And then Herb Jones I liked for a while. And just, I said, if he ends up being a solid shooter, just a solid shooter, he's a top 20 player from the draft. And his shooting has fallen off a little bit. He's down at 34% from 3 now, but that's solid enough to make him a top 20 player from this past draft. And then, who did you like in the second round last year? I think there was a couple guys.
I don't remember.
I remember I liked Thor, and I liked Kisper. I liked everybody that the Hornets took, and they just haven't played. Let's look at 2019.
Oh yeah, Joel. Yeah.
Oh, I like Joel Ayayi. Yeah, and now I like Julian Strother. It's kind of the same mold, I guess. But Ayayi just hasn't shot the ball well. Ayayi needed to go to the right team, and then needed to shoot well. And I don't know. He ended up with the Lakers, which is the worst team to end up on. Austin Reeves I liked, and he's been solid though. Make up for that. I also like Watford. As an undrafted signing, and that's worked out. So I batted a little better last year than
we were both really happy when he got signed.
Yeah, I liked Trey Mann too.
The bar wasn't set very high in our 2-way contracts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, just give me somebody that does something.
Well, we both thought Lou Dort should be but we both thought he would sign an actual contract somewhere. There was no way he was going to sign a 2-way, and then he signed a 2-way that night, and it was so disappointing.
The 2019 draft, the second round sucks. You got Claxton and you got Daniel Gafford, but other than that, it's Okpala, Carson Edwards, Bruno Fernando, Didi Lozada, Cody Martin, Diavitas Servitas, I love saying his name, Smeladjic, however you say his name, Justin James, Eric Paschal had a solid rookie year, but has just fallen off since then. I guess Jalen Noel's good, but Admiral Schofield, Bol hasn't worked out. Isaiah Roby, Taylor Horton Tucker, Brazdeikis, Terrence Mann. I guess Terrence Mann is solid, but not a lot of good names through there. But
I was at first I was going to say CJ Ellaby, and then you said I forgot you said 19, not 20.
Yeah, 19. I think 2018 was a better second round. Definitely a better second round.
But 2019 was the year that I swear it was at least the first 9, maybe as many as the first 12 second round picks got traded in some capacity, and we had no clue. We were trying to figure out what team they were going to. We had no idea. It was so frustrating.
And it was the first time we had ever streamed, so I was focusing on that and just over my head.
And then a lot of people were a lot of the early second round picks were going for future first or 3 second round picks and all this stuff, and it was crazy value too. And yeah, like you said, none of those guys panned out. But.
Yeah, that was a mistake. Yeah, so if you want to join our free bracket pool, link in the description. If you want to join our $20 buy-in bracket pool, let me know. Trevin, I did choose a Yai over Herb. But over that last month, I fell more and more in love with Herb. So that's the thing. Whoever I take in the mock off season isn't where I end up on prospects. Because last year until the mock off season, I hadn't paid a lot of attention to college basketball. But can't believe we took Nas over Bol Bol. A lot of people were begging for us to take Bol Bol. And he has not worked out. Anyway, we'll be live again. What's today? Monday. We'll be live again on Wednesday. I might do a March Madness preview stream on Wednesday. We'll see. I'll let you guys know if I do that. That would be over on the second channel, Blazers Uprise Live. I dropped my bracket pick, so if you want to see that, go watch it. Unless you plan on being in our $20 bracket pool or are in our $20 bracket pool, at that point, I would say just hold off on watching that until Thursday. Gonna drop more March Madness content, preview content over the next 3 days right here on the main channel. Gonna drop a video in a little bit. I'm gonna record it right after this and edit right after the stream is done. It'll be 6 high Cs I don't trust in March Madness, so that'll be a good preview video. I enjoy making those types of videos, so I'll have those. Is the stream ending? Yeah, I mean, is there anything else you really want to talk about, Eric?
No. Sometime soon that I'll have a video about our cap space myth as well.
Yep. Thinking maybe next week for that.
Okay.
Do you want it sooner?
I was hoping to have it out in this little break where there's not much going on, but
okay.
That's cool.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I didn't know when you wanted it out. And doing all the college basketball articles and then the videos over the next 3 days is a lot. But I can. I'll just ask you right now, how much graphics will it take? Like, how much is it? Is it like a normal one?
I just need you to put, like, when I say these 7 players are under contract, like the people on the side.
Yeah.
I mean, I can do it, but you never.
No, I can do it. Yeah, I can do it. I'll try and have that out, like, I don't know. I just didn't know if you wanted it with, like, all the March Madness content I'm dropping the next 3 days. I'm going to drop, like, 4 or 5 videos. I just didn't know if you wanted it in that pack or if you wanted it after that, like Thursday maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's aim for Thursday.
Well, I mean, everyone's going to be watching college basketball on Thursday and Friday.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. You said, like, there's a little break in here, but this is actually the busiest I've been in a while doing stuff. So, yeah, we can figure it out after the stream when a good time to drop that would be. But yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll be live again on Wednesday, post-game show, and then Thursday, Blazers Uprise Live. On Wednesday, who do we play? Let me look at our schedule. Do you remember who we play? No?
We play
the Knicks.
Knicks.
The freaking Knicks are up next. So we play the Knicks. That's another 4:30 p.m. tip time. And then on Friday, another 4:30 p.m. tip time. And we'll have post-game shows for both of those. And then you're missing the streams on the 20th, 21st, and 23rd?
Most likely. I'm for sure missing the Sunday one. I don't know how many of the streams during the week I'll be able to hit or whatever, but I'll be not available on Sunday or Thursday, so that's...
Yeah. I'll bring on Gabe for 1 or 2 of those if he wants to. And we can just, banter and kind of relax, because that's the way the streams are. So, yeah. Anyway, anything else you want to say before I hit the sign off?
Go Watford over Randall.
Yeah, Watford versus Randall. That'll be a fun matchup, man. Yeah, we'll have you covered with that post-game show. Stay on the lookout for more videos. Drop and follow us on Twitter. Links in the description box below. As I said, the free bracket pool link is in the description box below if you want to do any of those. And with that being said, that's a wrap for this postgame show. The Blazers lose tonight to the Atlanta Hawks 122-113. The tank continues on. We will see. I mean, there's still games going on. We'll see if the Kings can take care of the Bulls. They're currently up 7 with 18 seconds left in the third. That would give us a game of gain on the Kings tonight. We'll see if they can get it done. With that being said, that's a wrap for the post-game show. Until next time, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.